A Texas school district is under fire for advising teachers to present opposing viewpoints when teaching children and presenting books about the Holocaust. Yeah. So, wow. All right. So now this is Gina Petty, who is the Carroll School District's Executive Director of Curriculum and Instruction, made some remarks during a training session that was called in response to a parent's complaint about a fourth grade teacher who had an anti-racism book in her classroom. I want to play this recording from you. This was recorded by one of the teachers in secret about what they planned on doing to deal with the new Texas law. I'll explain what that is in a minute.
As you go through, just try to remember the concepts of 3979 and make sure that if you have a book on the Holocaust, that you have one that has opposing, that has other.
How do you oppose the Holocaust?
What? Believe me, that's come up.
So number the stars,
No,
which is
you're just take out.
What the hell? I mean, I believe that it's come up. I mean, knowing what I know, I definitely believe it's come up. There's an entire section of the internet that believes all this stuff is a conspiracy. And so that said, that doesn't make this a valid viewpoint. Okay? So now the Texas law, by the way, that is being referenced here is HB 3979. And what it does is basically forbids teachers to teach anything that could make a student feel discomfort, guilt, or anguish in regards to their own race. Now, I hate to break it to you, but that is kind of what history is full of. I mean, you have instances in the past in this country of slavery. You have the murder of indigenous people, the genocide of indigenous people. You have histories of racism, Jim Crow, etc. All these different things. On all of those things, there's really no opposing view to this, especially the Holocaust. 6 million people plus murdered, entirely indefensible. There's no other side. There's no opposing view. What are you going to do? You're going to bring in a neo-Nazi? Is that what you're going to do? You're going to present the kids with Mein Kampf? Is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing? That's insane. Insane. So now Carroll spokeswoman Karen Fitzgerald said, oh, no. All we're trying to do is to help teachers comply with the new state law. Our district recognizes that all Texas teachers are in a precarious position with the latest legal requirements. Our purpose is to support our teachers in ensuring that they have all the professional development, resources, and materials needed. Our district has not and will not mandate books be removed, nor will we mandate that classroom libraries be unavailable. Teachers who are unsure about a specific book should visit with their campus principal, campus team, and curriculum coordinators about appropriate next steps. So now that's not true. The libraries are actually unavailable. Literally in that meeting, they're telling people, we're just going to make sure to vet these books first. That means they're going to be unavailable. So now Clay Robinson, a spokesperson for the Texas State Teachers Association as a union, said that there's nothing there's nothing in the new Texas law that deals with classroom libraries. In fact, Robinson said the book outlines that Carroll, a suburban school district near Fort Worth, are a, quote, overreaction and a misinterpretation of the law. 3 other Texas education policy experts agreed and said, we find it reprehensible for an educator to require a Holocaust denier to get equal treatment with the facts of history. That is absurd. It's worse than absurd, and this law does not require it. I'll go further and say that no, the law is also absurd. They want to ban discussions that make certain people uncomfortable. Why? Or I should say, who? White racist parents. Those are the people that are getting triggered by this. They don't want their kids to know about the terrible things that our country has traditionally done to other people, whether it be, anti-Chinese sentiments, during the 1800s, trying to literally ban Chinese people from coming into this country. All the different laws and all the different ways that we have actually oppressed other people, immigrants in this country, and pit some immigrant groups against other immigrant groups. And yet, look, as NBC notes, by the way, this debate's going on in this area for some time. In fact, the debate in Southlake over which books should be allowed in schools is part of a broader national movement led by parents opposed to lessons on racism, history, and LGBTQ issues that some conservatives have falsely branded as critical race theory. So, critical race theory is a college level course, and that's been around for quite some time. It's not being taught in schools in K through 12 education, but they're taking that and they're saying that if you're teaching about racism at all, well, then you're teaching critical race theory. Not true. Not true. So they have taken this label and just affixed it to things that they don't like. That's what's happening. So now a group of Southlake parents, for example, has been fighting for more than a year to block new diversity and inclusion programs at Carroll, one of the top-ranked school districts in Texas. So first of all, it's a suburban area, and it is one of the top-ranked schools, which means mostly you're going to have white kids. So, of course, you got wealthy suburban white parents that do not want their children. By the way, they're mostly going to be Republican. That do not want their kids learning about how racism is bad. In fact, one of those parents complained when her daughter brought home a copy of a book called "This Book is Anti-Racist" by Tiffany Jewell from her 4th grade teacher's class library. It feels like, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but it kind of feels like the only people that would get triggered by anti-racist books are people who are racist. I mean, the opposing view to anti-racism, by definition, is racism. Now, I'm sorry if that makes you super uncomfortable, but I think it's important to teach kids about these things. Why? So, well, for one, it's history. It actually happened. You should teach people about the history of this country. Not to, it's not necessarily in a way to condemn this country. It's to condemn, of course, the actions of the people in this country that were enforcing these laws, but also to show, of course, the fact that, hey, if we remember our history, we can make sure to not repeat that history, so that those people don't have to go through these things again. Again, this isn't about guilt. This is about not repeating terrible things from the past, like slavery, okay, or Jim Crow. Those who forget the past are more likely to repeat it. But understand, repeating the past is exactly what racists want. Again, their whole point is to regress society back to where women, black people, immigrants are all second-class citizens, that they don't have power, that they return the gains that they had made economically and socially throughout the decades, throughout the years, that they don't have those things anymore. They want to go back to their, where they were on top. So they're going to cling to their ignorance, cling to the hate, cling to their alleged white supremacy, and never be challenged on it. They don't want to be challenged on it. So now, one good piece of news on this is that teachers are not happy about this, okay? In fact, the teachers that were in the meeting, again, for someone to be recording this, they were already incredibly concerned at what this law meant and the fact that no longer they would be able to teach your students about some of these things without having to, I guess, have an opposing viewpoint. In fact, following this meeting, some of them had a conversation One teacher said, quote, "I am offended as hell by somebody who said I should have an opposing view to the Holocaust in my library." Another replied, "They don't understand what they have done, and they are going to lose incredible teachers, myself potentially being with them." But actually, no, they do know that that's going to happen. That's the desired outcome. Get rid of the good teachers. Get rid of the teachers who actually have a passion for teaching children facts. They want people there to teach them their version of history. It's revisionism. And understand that this is what the right wing does. They love revised history. They love making people ignorant of actual history. And so, and again, they want to do this. They want your kids dumb so that it makes them feel good. It's about feelings over facts. The politicians, by the way, politicians will write these laws because they want to get elected. And they, of course, don't want to do things that help, minorities, people of color. They don't want to do that. And so, the politicians, again, write these laws. Parents that get triggered about, books about racism, they're all doing this in an effort to keep people ignorant of our past because, well, if people know about the past and how bad it was for certain groups of people, they're going to want to change it. And that's one thing that they can't help. They just don't want to happen. They don't want to change. The truth hurts their feelings. And now they come crying and complaining. How dare you teach my kids factual information like racism and how mass murder is wrong? How dare you? We need an opposing viewpoint. We have to have opposing viewpoints. Be careful what you wish for, by the way, because I could see some situations where this Texas law could be used against them. Okay. I mean, for example, okay, you want to teach Christopher Columbus in school, right? Okay. Well, I've got some books and some information about Christopher Columbus that isn't so good. Kind of challenges the, he's discovered America and sailed the ocean blue in 1492, and he's a great person. Not so much. Not so much. The real story of Christopher Columbus is about a man who was so incompetent that he blundered his way into the Caribbean and thought he hit India. Then, once he got there and was welcomed by the indigenous people, he decided to go back to Spain, bring 17 ships in order to basically murder and enslave the entire island, and did indigenous genocide. Not a good person. So yeah, be careful what you wish for, right? Because there's some information, that runs counter to some of the narratives. But hey, if you have an opposing viewpoint, well, okay, we can play that game. All these are stupid laws made by stupid people aimed at keeping people stupid. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.